Well, I was building model airplanes, wooden airplanes, in the first grade. By the time I got to the sixth grade, I had seen some of the college magazines that von Braun had written, and I got to know who he was by his picture in the magazines and what he said. I think in the sixth grade is when I decided I really wanted to be involved in the space program. I knew I would never be an astronaut because I've worn glasses since I was 2 years old, but I thought it'd be really fun to work with the astronauts and get to know them. And so that became my goal, was to do that, and I focused on that until I eventually had it happen.
Godspeed, John Glenn.
That's one small step for man.
Americans return to space as Discovery clears the tower.
Rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
I went first off to a little school called Mars Hill College, which is in the mountains of North Carolina. In those days, it was a 2-year mountain Southern Baptist school. I had my 2 years at Mars Hill and ended up going to NC State. Unfortunately, as a junior, I managed to flunk out of NC State. Had to petition to get back in, and at that point I met an angel. Her name is Becky. We started dating earlier in the spring of '62, and we decided this is stupid, let's just get married. So we got married on the 31st of December of 1962. With her help, I was able to get back into state, get refocused and re-aimed, and made it to graduate school at NC State, which is pretty remarkable. My degree is in psychology with a minor in aeronautical engineering. The state did not have a human factors engineering program at the time. They did in the master's program, but not in the bachelor's program. So that's how I put together my plan for working with the astronauts. So out of the clear blue, I get a request from Marshall to maybe come down and talk to him. And it turns out that Dr. von Braun, being the astute person that he was, he always had in his mind to go to Mars, and he knew if he had to go to Mars and people were going to go to Mars, he had to understand what it was like for a human to be in space. So his group looked at the manned space program from the 10,000-foot level, where at Johnson Space Center, they looked at it at the 1-foot levels. Well, he had a few people in his little group, specific disciplines that he wanted to be involved with this, and so he established his own version of Johnson Space Center. One of the openings they had was for a research psychologist, so I applied for that job, and that's what they got me doing. It's an interesting discipline. It has 1 foot in safety office, it has 1 in maintenance, 1 in reliability, and 1 in logistics. It ties the human and the machine together so that the machine can't hurt the human and the human can't hurt the machine, and they will work in tandem together and they'll do it efficiently. That's where you get a chance as a human factors engineer to play like an astronaut, even if you can't be one, and you get a chance to work with the equipment that the astronauts are going to work with and critique it and help it be developed. We were the voice for the astronauts when they weren't present to tell our designers, you need to do this, you need to be worried about that, while they were screaming, no, 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 we can't do that. But the astronaut will always win. So we kind of became their caregivers at Marshall Space Flight Center. My job at Marshall in Skylab was to babysit 33 corollary experiments that were on Skylab. That meant going out, talking to the providers of the experiment, looking at the way they envisioned the human to operate it, critiquing that, getting changes made, bringing the crew in to further evaluate it, and then we would finally get a blessing. We did the blessing by a program that I put together called Experiment Integration Study, where we integrated all the experiments that were in Skylab of this 33 experiments. We brought a flight crew in, all the key guys that were going to be involved in the mission, and others. We walked through every experiment and let those guys operate that experiment and look around to see what it was impacting right beside it, what other experiments were in the way. So we were able to bless that entire experiment before it ever flew. Came out of Skylab, one of the things that I was requested to do was create a book of the requirements and design constraints for humans and equipment. And so Jim Lewis and I were paired together to co-lead an effort to build the NASA Standard 3000, which is the Bible for human factors engineering for NASA, and still stands today. It's all about the teamwork. It is the teamwork that is absolutely true. It's the mission that counts. It's the focus on the mission. You love the people that you're working with and you respect them. You respect them and you trust them that they're going to help you and you're going to help them. And that's the way our group worked. I came in at the beginning of when we knew that a human could live 2 weeks in space, and that's all we knew. We suspected other things, but we weren't sure. And so Skylab was the foundation for everything we know now about living in space for any length of time. The things we did on Skylab were just expanded on the International Space Station. The basic sciences were created and performed on Skylab. And then we've progressed now into what we envisioned back in the Skunk Works, that you'd be doing professional, commercial work on the station. You'd be learning more and more about the body just from being on orbit. We know the things that are going to happen and we know how to prepare for them. For example, on Skylab, the 28-day mission, the first mission, the people were in worse shape after that mission than they were on the 84-day mission, which was the third mission. They were physiologically in worse shape on the first one than the third one, because from the first one we learned how to prepare the body by the time we got to the third mission. Dealt with the fact that the body changes, it grows, it actually grows in height because of the body fluids want to reach the same pressure throughout the body, but your shape is different. Your eyes are no longer there, they're down here. Your feet are no longer there, they're pointed, and the body sort of rolls over. And so it's like being underwater and just floating. The requirements that we created are still gospel. They don't get changed. So they add to that list, but they haven't changed much of what we defined coming out of Skylab. That was the Bible, and it's for human factors, and it still works.